I had a high school coach tell me, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. In Chicago public schools, the buildings are built the same way the penitentiaries are built.
The design, yes.
The design is all the same.
The lights.
The tray that they give you on your lunch tray is the same exact tray that they give you in the jail. Epstein was working for Mossad as a blackmail organization. Diddy was doing the same exact thing.
So there are tapes, you think?
For sure there are tapes. He had CCTV everywhere. He stabbed his own brother for bootlegging his music. He stabbed his own brother for selling his music illegally.
We've heard time and time again about the Kardashian curse, where every man who comes into contact with these ladies, for some reason, their life just takes a dive. Every other time with Eric, man, we had to do it again, man.
Yes, sir.
By popular demand.
Yes, sir.
Most successful episode I've done thus far. Big homie Cece's back. How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother? How you feeling?
How have you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been good. Just working, staying diligent.
How is Kenya treating you so far?
Man, Kenya is embracing me. I love it. I feel like home, for sure.
You're learning your way around. You're learning the ropes.
Yeah, I'm learning the ropes. And just to let everybody know, Eric had to give me some coaching, some guidelines on how to operate too. Because he was seeing me having some little struggles, but it's all good now. We working.
You figured it out now, yeah. There's some, of course, like when you go to somewhere new, there's always some cultural nuances.
Definitely.
Probably like me wearing a red flag in a blue without knowing, you know. Like.
For sure. Good analogy.
Yes. So how have you been, man? Generally, how's things, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I've been in the gym a lot, working out. I've been eating this organic diet out here. I've been having a marvelous time.
What do you eat? Curiously, what do you eat? Do you eat?
I just eat meat and vegetables. Pause.
Big pause.
For sure. I just eat meat and vegetables, bro, and I keep it like that. It worked good for me.
So a lot of my audience were left hanging.
Oh, okay.
They felt like there was too much more to explore. And then you ended the episode by telling me how you're gonna tell me off camera, and of course there's certain things we talked off camera. Some we cannot discuss.
True.
But people were so intrigued about the entertainment industry and the Satanism, so to speak, and people actually selling their souls, you know. So I went back because one of my favorite artists, of course, I think one of the most talented musicians of our time has to be Kanye West, man.
Mr. West, easy. As in, if you just go back to all his albums, man, Graduation. I mean, no one has ever made music like him. No one has ever had an arc of entertainment talent like that. So you're a musician who's a super producer. Oh, wait, but I can also rap in a crazy way. Fashion guru.
I make the best beats. I make the best clothes. I make the best shoes. I can literally move culture. And it always appears that despite the crazy, he's always been like 10 steps ahead. Right now, as we speak, Kanye has kind of earned his right to do anything.
True. Without
judgment.
Indeed,
he went so far out that now whatever Kanye does right now, man, everyone's gonna just play ball. But there's a specific time in Kanye's trajectory where, and I'll ask Venal to put the clip up, where he talked about, he's talking to the crowd in a concert.
Okay.
And he's talking about how he sold his soul. So he's describing how, of course, when he signed his contract he's with a label, and he talks about how it came with a few toys. He does a whole rap, and I'll ask my producer to put it in there. And
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
There was so much depth to what that guy was talking about there.
True.
So, in your experience, this thing for signing a deal with the devil, how literal is that statement?
Okay. Great question as always. I get asked this a lot. Having like that first person view perspective of being around certain people, I feel like it can have a literal meaning and it can have like a contractual meaning. Kanye's whole thing was
he would call himself Michelangelo of our era. And he always felt like the big brands and the people, the gatekeepers and the key holders should empower him more. And to reach where he reached, he had to make a lot of agreements, which he really didn't have ownership. And I feel like that's what he meant by selling his soul, because when he came out and spoke out against the Jews, he said he was able to get out of all of his deals overnight by simply pulling that stunt. You could interpret that as crazy, but if it's worth $1 trillion, it's not crazy. So when it comes to that, Kanye has proven himself to not have a filter, and that's what got him there. And then all of a sudden they wanted him to have a filter. He didn't agree with that. And he said the movie Get Out was his life. That's an interesting perspective to take. And then he pointed out that in Roc Nation contracts, there's a clause that forbids you to speak about Jesus.
You can't say Jesus, literally. So do you think Kanye was just a talented brash guy? He came in with the talent, and of course you have all these idealistic outlooks of the industry, and then at some point you realize that this thing has little satanic connotations. There's a famous clip of, I remember Melissa Ford now, who's big time on Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
I think she does a stellar job, but there's a famous clip of her saying that she saw people literally sign contracts in blood with the devil in Hollywood.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there. Like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day.
And her career at that point just took a dip because she was like the biggest video vixen. Then she tried to go sell real estate, and then of course now she's had a resurgence.
Right.
But there seems to be this spiritual thing in Hollywood, and specifically in music. In music. So at what point does one actively operate in awareness of, I am now actively doing like the devil's work? Like at what point did Kanye cross that point?
I feel like for him, he says he puts God first. He started to make Christian music. One of his biggest songs is Jesus Walks. And many times throughout his career, they wanted him to be a gangster rapper. They told him he dressed like he was gay and stuff like that. Then he ended up pretty much controlling the clothing narrative for some years. What I know is all champions of industry have a group of guys, a group of people, men and women, who feed them their ideas and make these companies so great. Kanye was that person. He was huge as a DJ, a producer, an artist, a fashion guru. A lot of things that black creators are able to do, he was on the forefront of that. He had to fight for that. You know, people didn't.
There was no black people in fashion on that level.
Not at all.
There were so many stumbling blocks.
For sure. And then, you know, he always says that his ex-wife Kim is Marilyn Monroe. You know, Marilyn Monroe was murdered. And I feel like Kanye had to take certain steps and make certain levels of controversy to free himself and also to protect himself. Because if the guy shows up dead right after he says certain things, but then you know the conspiracy is true.
And I think on a psyop control level, I'd say in comes Kim Kardashian into Kanye's life, because we've heard time and time again about the Kardashian curse, where every man who comes into contact with these ladies, for some reason, their life just takes a dive.
A deep turn, a dark turn.
Where is Chris Humphries, man?
He got out of Dodge.
Yeah. What happened to Lamar Odom?
That man having a crack overdose.
Look at Scott Disick, his mental health, the struggles he's had. Look at the younger brother. Why is it all the men who interface with these chicks or these ladies? And I remember when I started exploring this conspiracy around now what's happening in Hollywood, I would look at the yearly Christmas card that the Kardashians would put out.
Right.
And there's one that was, and I will put it on the screen, that was pure satanic. Like it was, how is this a Christmas card?
Right.
Like Christmas is supposed to be like, happiness and family, but it looked like death. You could see the mason floor.
Got that gothic, dark undertones to it.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce turned Caitlyn. So, are those? Is that like a psyop family or what is that? Because
I'm gonna say some stuff that's gonna be hard for people to digest. Now, in certain ancient texts, they spoke of a group of people who lived here, a global civilization, and they had male and female organs. Several demonic entities have male and female organs.
Even the Baphomet, yeah?
Even the Baphomet. Now, if some of these beings that you are interacting with, channeling, making agreements with, some of the characteristics of them, they're going to want to see in a representation on us. That's why we're seeing this whole, we've seen a whole campaign where they was forcing transgenderism on everyone. And in America, they were giving free surgeries for
to kids,
to children. All of these dark entities demand child sacrifice. You can't gain anything from them without giving up something. That's what I learned. And I also learned that you have more experiences with the supernatural when you aren't afraid. That's something that I learned. That's kind of what set me on my path, because it's like, look, I'm not going to be a victim to worldly things. And in order to combat other worldly things, I had to add certain things in that world to my toolbox. There's no coincidence that some of these demons have both organs, both reproductive organs. So these demons, these beings who they work for, that's where they getting it from. There's no way around that. Because if you want to destroy a population, you remove their ability to reproduce. If you are compliant with this as a human being, either you're not a flesh and blood human being, or you're working for people that aren't flesh and blood. And that's the only way to put that.
But a question I'll ask around, especially music, what is this resistance to obvious presentation of the fact? I'll give an example. I when I used to turn up as a young high schooler, I remember we used to listen to a lot of 3-6 Mafia.
They worship the devil.
3-6 Mafia.
They were active devil worshippers.
Let's start with the name. They're called 3-6 Mafia.
666.
Then in the Stay Fly song, if you listen keenly, you're my God, you're my King, you're my Alpha. Then you hear Lucifer. And you're like, huh?
Yes.
How do you justify putting that in a song? And between 2007 and around 2014, there's demonic portals, I feel, that were being opened through music. And that's why the world changed so dramatically in terms of how we look at our morals and how we go about things. Because just simply, how do you justify your name, a song like, a group being called 3-6 Mafia? all the different imagery that was happening in music at the time. These guys were doing incantations. Famous song, Juicy J, Katy Perry. You say you want to play with magic. All the undertones.
You say you want to play with magic.
Literally.
Because the universe is based off sound, light, and frequency. music used to be recorded at a lower megahertz level. Somebody figured out that you can program the human brain with a different megahertz. So they record music in a higher megahertz now so that the music is more impactful on people. And so now that's part of the psyop. That's part of how they keep control. Because here in Kenya, every time I get into a vehicle, they're playing music from the 2010s. They not playing drill music. They not playing murder music. They not even playing trap music here. They playing stuff that's on a more positive frequency. That's by design because, you know, they got drill music is banned in Haiti and it's banned in Nigeria because they know already the human brain can indeed be programmed. And we are living in a society where they use, at all times, we're exposed to some type of frequency. We walk around with a phone in our pocket all day. They did a study and showed that how plants grown around Wi-Fi signals died faster and grew less. What effect is that having on us? It all boiled down to the same things, you feel me? Whistleblower Matthew Brown, everybody look this up. He said it in his whistleblower testimony that we are left with one type of science and we living in a dream. Like I believe that this world is indeed a stage because you know, they call politics and certain hearings theater. That's what they call it.
Yes.
Is it not theater? That's exactly what it is.
Red versus blue.
Definitely. It's all a stage, and the variations could be limitless. It could be endless because you will see a guy go viral. He gets on a random plane and finds somebody who looks just like him. How do you explain this?
I saw that. Put that picture up on the screen. I saw that.
How do you explain this?
Literally. And they were sitting side by side.
Side by side. You feel me? And then take it to the guy, Timothy McVeigh, the Unabomber in Oklahoma.
Yes.
The guy that works at the FBI look exactly like him.
Exactly.
Like, what's going on? Why does that exist that way? Because people's house have been trapped in the monotony of being on that hamster wheel. You know, how can they focus on the truths of our existence if they don't sell certain hours of their day to an employer? They can't keep the lights on that they building. It's a trap. So, you know, it's a reason they don't want people living holistically.
And there's something, I mean, the English language, you know, they say by design is we cast spells as we speak.
For sure.
Trap music. It's called trap music.
For sure.
It's a trap. Like
just like with alcohol. They call it spirits. You drink certain alcohol, you might act a fool.
Gin.
We had to ban gin in our family. Like, because we don't drink tequila or gin. Me or my brother. We don't, because as soon as we drink that, you know, we ready to go to the county jail now. You feel? So it's like, okay. So when I get here to Africa, they call it spirits.
Wines and spirits.
I'm like, damn. Everything start to coming here really helped me put a lot of things in perspective because it's the same thing. Like, everybody here is trying to grind. Just like over there, everybody's trying to grind. And it's hard to pay attention to the otherworldly aspects to the world because we are literally trapped in a matrix, for sure.
And why is it you find that a lot of artists, I think I can think of a few examples, all have a song where they describe how they sold their soul? Snoop Dogg, of course, has his famous song. We'll put that on the screen briefly, hopefully.
I listen to Roc.
You know Coldplay?
I know Coldplay.
There's a song where Chris Martin talks about took a trip downtown where the lost boys meet and took what they offered me. Yep. Like literally the whole song is literally him describing him selling his soul.
And why you think he's saying that? Because you asked me what I thought about it means. I want to ask you, what do you think they mean by selling their soul?
I've gone around, I've thought about this for years. And at some point I used to think, nah, it's just they compromise the man. But in today's time, I'm led to believe that it's literal. Like they literally transactionally sold their soul because provided you're making music, let's just use Christian doctrine.
Okay.
Provided you're listening to music that's not of God, you're chaperoning the masses to hell.
For sure.
So Coldplay makes some amazingly sounding music, but
For sure.
you can't help yourself.
Yep.
And so if I'm listening to that and I'm loving that, I am just being walked straight to hell, if that's what I consume primarily. So that talent, for them to rise to where they've risen, they had to sell out. And what were they given? The trinkets on earth, which is wealth, money, power. But then I think that always has, because I think the devil is the greatest deceiver, because it's always timed. Why is it all these guys end up going through turmoil at some point?
Do you remember when Dave Chappelle got offered the $50 million and he fled?
Yes.
What's that about?
But then he came back and then he wore a dress. Like, he talked about the dress thing, and then he subtly wore a dress on SNL. Subtly, in a very subtle way. Not like Kevin Hart. You could put Kevin Hart in a dress. And in as much as people are trying to say, there's no parallel between these guys wearing dresses, there's definitely a parallel.
Definitely is a parallel. At the end of the day, how many stars in Hollywood have we seen who died in a bathtub alone? We've seen this several times. How many stars have we seen say they're broke? How many stars have we seen commit suicide? When you think they're on top of the world, Robin Williams is one of the best talents we ever had as an actor.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
He died as suicide. Why?
Depression. They say he was depressed. I saw yesterday, and we put this clip up of Lil Nas X, and I remember vividly when this young man came out and was making, he's queer, and he was making music that sonically you couldn't help yourself because it was nice. It sounded good. So I saw him yesterday in a clip walking around somewhere in, I think, LA, in an underwear, having lost it. And I remember thinking back to one of his first videos. I'm like, oh, you think it's play? When he was like dancing with the devil, and he thought it was fun and games. And I think he was met with like, yo, this is not a game. And
it's not a game.
And you've already kind of come on this side. Now we need you to come all the way this side.
For sure.
Then things just took a dip.
He's gone.
And then a year later, he's walking half naked in the street, bro.
So I believe that when these people come and offer you help, you accept that help. The problem is they lie. And would a supreme intelligence ever tell a lower intelligence the truth? I don't think so. What incentive would they have? And you'll see from time to time, Nori said that
there's a gay door.
And that definitely has demonic references to it, because, the most important thing a man can have is his manhood.
And you put Nori saying that on the screen, man.
World. There's 3 different doors, right? There's 3 different ways to walk. There's to the left, there's to the right, and then there's straight. Straight is you're on your own. Let's see if you continue this success, young man. Okay. Let's see if it's all about your skills, young man. Let's really see that. Okay. You went straight. To the right, I'm not sure if that's the homo shit right there. And then there's to the left.
Yeah, so Nori also said that, they came and offered him. He said no. He said, good luck to you, young man. And he never went platinum again.
Because he thought it was off the strength of his talent.
Nah, it's not like that.
You need the push.
It's a machine. But I've seen artists. I was their security before they got a record deal. They was grinding in the trenches. Once they got their record deal, they put that machine behind you, and now you a global star. But you signed so many contracts, you made so many agreements. They literally own you. I feel like that has something to do with people saying they sold their soul. But at the same time, though, you see certain people come out and say, like, look, I was propositioned by this person. His face changed into something else. We keep hearing this over and over and over. Like the lady that was on the airplane, the blonde-haired lady.
Oh, yeah.
Said she seen the dude turn to a lizard.
Shape-shifted.
She yelling and screaming. people have been saying this for years. I had an experience before. I spoke about this, you know, and I was like, this ain't supposed to be real, you know, but I know what I saw. And my cousin was there with me, and he was like, bro, I just saw the devil. And, you know, I don't believe.
Does that change you permanently?
For sure. Yeah. Changed me permanently for sure.
Because that would, you know, we talked earlier about, you know, catching things the corner of your eyes. I think instinct is God's gift to us in terms of our innate compass of understanding what's happening that we can't see.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what instinct is. But if I was to literally see someone shapeshift in front of me, I'm probably changed for life, man. But I wanna go somewhere that probably people. I watch a lot of content world over. People are scared to go here.
For sure.
Hove.
Here we go. See, I avoid saying his name at all costs because
the Roc is strong, huh?
The Roc is strong, and like
for those who are watching who might have missed what I'm talking about Jay Z, and I'm talking about Roc Nation and the power, and so many people who suffered by not bowing down. Famously, Dame Dash. Dame Dash to me is one of the
GOATs right there.
Profound,
for sure.
Independence, make you like he's pro humanity.
Yep.
And he's like pro. You don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to bend the knee. And they've given him a hard time.
Did you see what Nicki Minaj said about Roc Nation?
Yeah, with the sale of Tidal and how they finessed her.
Said they ruined the sports. They ruined music. They ruined rap.
And Dame Dash said something interesting. So 1 minute Colin Kaepernick is kneeling because of injustice in the black that the African American community are facing. Jay Z comes to try and negotiate on behalf. Then the next thing, they are hosting the Super Bowl.
He's an opportunistic businessman. He doesn't operate.
He doesn't care
off of emotions and stuff like that. For him, it's the bottom line. And I've met people who have certain levels of stoicism. His is next level. Like being around him, it's almost like he knows something everybody else don't know. And I swear by that. Long live my big brother Meech. Because Meech used to do security for him when he came to Chicago from time to time. And he said the same thing. He said, man, it's like Hove just knows something we don't know. And the man called himself Hove, man. That mean God.
Jehovah, yeah. But why do I see so many people falling in line? And these are people who had initially spoken against him. Like I'm talking about people like Cameron.
Because
and now Cameron is on the up again.
yeah, on the podcast thing. The thing is, when Busby came after Jay Z put out a statement that he wrote on his phone, said, I'm not going to give you a red cent. If you could tie me to anything, you're going to have to charge me criminally. Then he filed a countersuit for $20 million. This is why when it come to him, his wife, and that group, because this lawsuit that they got me in, I tried to file a countersuit and they told me I couldn't do it. So how can he do it? I said, oh, okay. I see what's going on here. Even they know that he knows something else that they don't know. For sure, bro. There's no way around it. Because here go an inside story. When they was putting together the Super Bowl, when he was negotiating for the Super Bowl, he said, yeah, the white guy won't do the halftime show unless his buddy 50 Cent can do it. He don't even call Eminem. He just calls him the white guy. That's what his mind state is at. Eminem's probably one of the biggest rappers to ever live.
Eminem, I've famously talked about it on this podcast, how Eminem, my dad bought my brother that album when I was about like 11 and changed our lives. We're listening to it undercover in the room.
Yeah.
Changed our lives. I mean, contrarian, rebel.
For sure.
And Eminem was a powerhouse.
They protested Eminem in the streets. He was preaching destruction. And they seem to empower that because drill music came out of my city and it created generations of murderers. Because I remember watching guys, they were dancing like B2K. When drill came out.
From pump, pump, pump to pump, pump.
Not right. They killers now. I'm like, hold on. Y'all killers now. What happened? Like, what's going on? Like, what made, how could y'all possibly say y'all on our level when we never seen y'all out here before? The music can turn it on in people, bro.
But why does it seem like 50? So there's a duality to 50 Cent. I respect him. I respect what he does. I respect the human 50 Cent.
For sure.
I like how he moves. But when it comes to Hove, he's one of the few guys who stands. He doesn't give a damn.
He stabbed his own brother for bootlegging his music. He stabbed his own brother for selling his music illegally. He said, I came in the game 100 G's strong. Most rappers come into the rap game poor. He always had an extra bargaining chip because he came in with his own resources. And what was he doing previously to that? He was a drug dealer. He was selling poison to the community. It seems like people are able to build a lot of wealth off oppression of others in some form or fashion.
That seems to be the name of the game. But why is 50 not scared of Jay? But nowadays he doesn't go at Ross the way he used to. Is that a money thing? Because Ross is up.
When 50 stopped pressing Ross at the heat of their beef, that was because the record label heads got involved. They said, look, you damaging our product. You either stop it or we gonna slow down your money stream. That's what took place.
So it's money.
For sure. They come from a crazy 90s era. Jay Z had a gold grill in 1988. They come from that crazy 90s era where the drug era, cause see, here in Kenya, y'all didn't have the crack era. The crack era, crack cocaine, the streets of our city will never recover from that.
And that was CIA, yeah?
For sure. We seen FBI agents cornering people from LA police departments and CIA, accusing them of selling drugs. The Iran-Contra thing with all of that, CIA was selling drugs in America.
Yeah, the CIA is the biggest plug.
the biggest plug. They got control of everything.
In the world, actually.
For sure. Because you know what a rendition is?
Yeah, where you can take someone outside and torture them.
You can pull up a van on a city street. Somebody can push you in that van. They can fly you to any place now. A lot of guys that were internationally fugitives, when they got to America, they yelling and screaming, I was kidnapped. They grabbed me out of my sleep. That's illegal, but they're going to ignore that and say, hey, listen, you facing these charges right here. At the end of the day, I feel like we have a responsibility as humans to try to free ourselves, free our minds, and try to help free others. The problem is, you know that there's something going on, but they're spending billions a year to keep you trapped and keep the information hidden. Because this is powerful. You got to put this on the interview. James Fox spoke about the conversation he had with Robert Bigelow on the Danny Jones podcast.
I love Danny Jones, man. Amazing.
You got to watch that episode with James Fox because James Fox investigated a crash and a recovery of non-human creatures that were seen by the public in Virginia, Brazil. You got to look into that because the very description of the creatures that were captured, one of them scratched a military serviceman. He was infected with
yes, I've seen this before. Yes,
the same description of them creatures are literally the same description of demonic entities in the Bible. Also, the smell of sulfur. Now, every time I talk to somebody and they say something landed on their property, they smelled a sulfuric smell.
If you remember the exorcism of Emily Rose, he'd wake up at 3 a.m. and smell sulfur.
So why is that?
And he always thought, and you know the craziest thing about that, the exorcism of Emily Rose, do you know the tapes they used in the courtroom were the real tapes?
For sure.
So it was not, that part of the movie was not fiction.
Man, I'm getting the chills thinking about this.
Yet that was this was a scene where demons are proclaiming themselves.
For sure.
That was some trippy shit. But now, in the music context, I know we're talking about 50J, but now in the music context, how deep is this beef? And is it just purely the love of money, or have all these guys sold out and they're just on some other shit?
So, well, rap is a competitive sport. So in order to climb up that, you usually have to go at somebody. 50 is one of those type of people, he don't have a problem going at anybody. The reason he doesn't have a problem is because he knows he's not owned by nobody. A lot of these guys are told what to say and what to post. He's not one of those people. And, you know, the rapper Lupe Fiasco said he felt like he was fighting evil. And I feel like 50 feel the same way because he was pressing Diddy when nobody else had the balls to press him.
Hey, he pressed Diddy, man.
He pressed Diddy, man. He pressed Kanye. He don't have a problem going at it because he know what I know. If you are afraid, they are going to try more and more and more shit on you, for sure.
And also, rumor has it 50 is way richer than people think. Like, of course, he had to hide his wealth because of the lawsuit that he lost for the, I think, revenge porn thing.
For sure. All of these dudes do that. But if you smart, you got your money in trust and offshore accounts. He owns properties in Africa. And you don't talk as much shit as him if you're going to be able to win a judgment and know how much he make. It's not going to work that way. Same reason why Trump can say his company made $400 last year. And he don't pay no taxes on nothing. Same way, bro. I had a high school coach tell me, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. These are some of the building blocks.
But generally, when I look around in life, when I see how rules are set up in different versions or variations of the things you do, the people who govern are the ones who bend the rules. As the rules are created, then there'll be a select people who will bend, then they're the ones who rise.
Yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, the guys who are following the rules are
getting his ass kicked every day by life. Bills stacked up this high, and they gonna tell him, "You better stick to the rules. If not, it's consequences." But they can do whatever they want. Why do they feel like they have the right to have dominion over others?
How powerful is Lucian Grange?
Look up the translation of his name.
Lucian Grange sounds Luciferianish. Put up the translation. What? Because only in the past 2 years has he come out to the forefront in terms of now we even got to see a picture. We got
right.
But Lucian Grange was always spoken almost as like an entity.
Yeah, reverence to his name.
And it wouldn't matter which side or which label, whether it's Def Jam, like across the divide, there was always that name, Lucian Grange.
I'm about to pull up Lucian.
Those guys run music.
Bro, it's all right, here we go. Lucian meaning. Lucian. This phone is just all fucked up. Okay, it's restarting. Okay.
But Lucian.
Luciferianism is big. You see how Putin banned the Satanic Church in Russia?
Yeah.
Because, bro, I've seen the darkest parts of humanity. I've seen actual evil things going on. I've looked into people's eyes when they were dying, and after a point in time, they were looking past, and like they were seeing something that awed them, shocked them. And I always wondered about that because, you know, throughout the history of the rap game, there was a turning point when it went dark. And
Ice Cube talks about, and if you notice, Ice Cube has always been kind of maligned.
For sure.
For the kind of contribution he made into hip hop, he doesn't get his credit the way he should. But he speaks of a time where they were called in for a meeting by the CIA and they were given the MO. And the whole MO around this thing was the privatization of prisons. So if prisons are private, it means there's an incentive to have people in prison. So let's make music that will channel people to prison.
It all boils down to the human being a resource to powerful groups. In Chicago public schools, you don't go anywhere unless a bell rings. Same thing in jail. The buildings are built the same way the penitentiaries are built.
The design, yes.
The design is all the same.
The lights.
The tray that they give you on your lunch tray is the same exact tray that they give you in the jail. It's no coincidence. Everything boils down to using human beings as some form of property, because American prisons, you get a job in there, you're making like 4 cents a day. That's a free slavery. Look at the Scientology religion. I've investigated this group over and over. This is the biggest human trafficking company on the earth. In the Church of Scientology, all of their members work no job. They only work for Scientology. They work at all of their stores, all their businesses, and they don't get paid. So whoever's sitting at the top of that pyramid is a billionaire. And then they have at their headquarters every day. The chef wakes up and makes what's the guy who made the rhetoric? They make his meal. He's long dead. They prepare his meal as if he's coming back every day. Well, why is that? Is his body somewhere cryogenically frozen? Why is that? At the end of the day, everything boils back down to oppression of human beings. Why is that?
And if you look at even how the music system is set up, why is it that if Big Homie signs and becomes successful, the deal I'll give you as a label, you can sign some guys as well. So it's just a continuation of taking advantage and basically just making money off the suffering of, or rather the toil of other people.
For sure, because like soon as Prince wanted to purchase his masters, which he can get his royalties, dead.
They killed him, man.
Michael Jackson, same thing, dead. Soon as Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC,
Quaaludes.
Here come the Quaaludes. See what I'm saying? Soon as Diddy said soon as he sued Diageo.
And apparently he made away with a Be Quietly.
He settled outside of court.
For $1 billion, and they're like, oh, we're going to show you, man.
They not finna let him just get away with that money. They don't play like that. Because at the end of the day, Epstein was working for Mossad as a blackmail organization. Diddy was doing the same exact thing.
So there are tapes, you think?
For sure there are tapes. He has CCTV everywhere, in every place. How is it that when the drug mule, the basketball player, got arrested on a private jet with him, he's nowhere in the trial? His case is completely dropped. With drugs gone. Diddy got caught with defaced firearms,
absolutely,
and drugs. None of that's in the case.
So they literally just wanted to take the $1 billion back.
They wanted some of that money, and then they will. If you think you're bigger than the program will humble you, for sure. No way around that.
So what do you think is happening with? Of course, I follow vividly the developments with Epstein, and I'm now so confused, man. I don't know what was happening, because for the longest part, I was pro-Trump. I can say it loud and proud in the previous run-up to the election because I felt he stood for truth.
Right.
He came across as someone who's standing for truth. The verdict is still out. I don't know. Time will tell. Time will reveal. But the way he's dodging and ducking the Epstein thing doesn't add up.
I always point out some key details about this whole thing. When it comes to the whole Epstein situation, Trump knows that this is the most powerful we've ever seen an American president. Ever since he decided to brush the Epstein files under the rug, every bill that he has proposed has been passed. Every executive order that he's written up has been enforced.
Oh, so it's a bargaining tool, you think?
He definitely is going to be blackmailing people in the deep state for sure. I know for a fact that it's going on because I'm watching the most human trafficking arrests that I've ever seen. Free Dugar. Dugar in jail right now went on a retrieval. It went bad. You know, we've had people from law enforcement reach out to us and say, look, slow down. We doing things, slow down. We see what you're doing. We don't want you getting in any trouble, so slow down. Part of the reason why I left.
Like slow down on the helping retrieve.
Yeah. Because, you know, things be happening. Things happen. And
so they feel like you guys are interrupting a system that has been, for whatever weird reason that they're trafficking, could be, of course, pedophilia, organs, just all manner of debauchery. That
good word, debauchery, good word.
The continuity, they just want the continuity to continue. Like, that's pretty much it.
Be careful here. Okay. What if a group knew that you may uncover something that must stay a secret because agreements have been made? I firmly believe that these non-human intelligences that people always speak about, it's because of them all of this is a secret. It's not, but human beings cannot pull off this charade by themselves.
Not at this. Something would have leaked.
Something would it, not at this level. It's internationally controlled. The most spooky thing to me is that across the world there are several different war zones. Antarctica is a place that is supposed to be just a frozen tundra. But every country, every government has an agreement. We're going to all work here and research in peace. If you fly to Antarctica, you can't go anywhere by yourself.
There's a young guy, Asian kid.
He's still there.
He's stuck there.
He's stuck there. They don't know what he saw. We might not. Oh, be careful.
He's lawyered up and everything, but they're keeping him there. What do you think he saw? What do you think's there?
The key to all of this are pilots. Throughout history, pilots have been the people who have made the biggest discoveries and have been forced to hush up.
Byrd, there's a famous guy.
Admiral Byrd, famously, because oftentimes we hear about conspiracy theories, people talking about the ice wall. It's been documented that there is a massive hole in Antarctica. It's been documented that the poles of our planet are in an octagonal shape, just like in beehives. They say nature doesn't build in straight lines. Bees build octagonal combs. How do they know to do this? At the end of the day, every tribe on this planet that's indigenous, they all speak of people who came from under the ground to teach them things. All throughout history, there are different settlements where there were underground cities where human beings lived. Why were they underground?
Recently, there's a lady who famously claimed, and she's done the rounds. She's been on Danny Jones. She's been on Sean Ryan. I think she did Joe Rogan recently. I'll ask Venal to find it. She talks about how 23 trillion has been spent. There's a specific group of the elite who are trying to build an escape civilization, and it's been happening for years. And it got me thinking about Elon Musk's Boring Company. What was that Boring Company really about?
I'll break it down for you.
It's definitely some drilling.
For sure. Elon Musk has tunnels built underneath Las Vegas strictly for Tesla vehicles. Let's lay out this whole thing with Musk. Musk has SpaceX, which is his rocket building company that makes spaceships. Then he has his Tesla robots. These robots are made to autonomously replace human beings in certain autonomous fields. If you plan to live on Mars, it's not going to be on the surface. That's why he has his Boring Company, to dig underground. Then he has his robots that's going to land there first to build everything before humans get there. That's why he has all of this.
Is that in our lifetime, you think?
For sure. I believe about 2040, 2050, you're going to see human beings on Mars. Definitely. Because you got to think about it. The Cydonia region on Mars has pyramids. You don't think it's lost tech in those pyramids?
I mean, there's ocean beds dried up, so there's a very high chance that a long time ago there was probably life.
Here's another thing. You got to put this on the screen. You got to pull up the full color images of Mars. Some of the areas on there are green. NASA comes out and says we have found water, liquid water on the planet. They never show that though. If you have liquid water,
you have life.
You have life. There's going to be organisms in that water. There's nowhere around it. If you wanted to make sure a group of people didn't transcend, you keep them on the surface. Because the old world is at the bottom of the ocean. Only 5% of the ocean has been mapped. Why is that? Probably because they probably told you don't come over here. That's the only way, bro.
Do you think there's still life forms under like life forms in terms of like humanoid life forms underwater?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Based off the vastness, I'm led to think so as well.
Based off human testimony, any place on the planet, human testimony, human eyewitness testimony is enough to get you a life sentence. You can have strictly circumstantial evidence. That eyewitness testimony, that's what's going to get you that sentence. Peep this. If you go to the Seychelles Islands here in Africa, at a certain time of night, they tell you everybody out the water. There, they believe that mermaids exist and they will drag you into the ocean. They will trick you, mislead you, and they're dangerous. Guy goes on, a comedian went on Joe Rogan and told his experience.
The African-American guy?
Yes.
Yes, I saw.
He told his experience. When I was in London, I'm in a recording studio. Two of the guys there said they were from Seychelles. I said, what you know about mermaids? They froze. He's like, what you know about them? I say, I know that y'all know. So run it down to me. Even crazier, I was in Ukunda. I'm at Diani Beach. And a certain area near the water, they got everybody's gates. It's got more chains and locks on it than other people's. And my homegirl was coming to visit me to take me to a club. And the security at the building said, he says, it's very dangerous at this time of year. Do not go outside the gate. I'm like, why? They got a sign. It's a sign of a fish person on the sign. They just say, because of them right there. Luis Lumar ran National Geographic's OceanX program. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
You could pull this up. Luis Lumar said he encountered humanoid advanced beings by doing research for OceanX. I had an experience with some people I worked for We on a boat. The boat is called the Anne Marie. We on a boat. They pull out a yellow device. I believe it's called a fluke. And another dude had some pictures in a folder. I was doing security. I couldn't see the pictures. I didn't see the folder. I didn't see what was on the fluke. But when they showed certain people on there, some of them started crying. One of them slid down the wall, holding his face like this in tears. One of the guys says, could this be the Namo who the Dogon spoke about?
So wait a minute, big homie. So you're working security out of broken character, man. I'll be like, hey.
But see, that thing, if I break character, I never get exposed to this type of stuff ever again. And you know, I've heard stranger things than that. But this time, I almost broke character. I was like, man, all right. I want to see what's on them pictures and what's on that device. And I thought about it. I said, man, nobody can stop me from getting that if I want to get it. You feel me? But I'm on a boat. You feel me? And there's other things taking place on the boat. And it's kind of like, I'm not the only tough guy here. Like, okay. So I said, well, I'll try to sneak and see this if I can. But, you know, laws are different in international waters. And you can look this up. There have been several billionaires who mysteriously died on their yacht, on their boat. And mysterious people showed up and ransacked the boat, steal things, and leave. So, you know, I always thought about breaking character, but at the same time, like, I know it's going to have to be a shootout with me. So I don't want it to go to that.
You don't want to just die knowing.
No, because if I find out something I'm not supposed to know and people are upset about it, because you can't bully white people for too long. So you gotta know if you're dealing with them, you better know how to have violence in your toolbox and a good escape plan. Because the Dogon tribe, for him to mention the Dogon is a tribe here who had a whole map of a star map. Their tale is 2 reptilian brothers taught them fire. They showed them how to map the stars. And then the Dogon came from the water. The Namo came from the water and told the Dogon not to trust the reptilian brothers. Why is all of this existing? And then we living in these metropolis when, of course, there was a flood that happened. And we got all of these cities built on these coastlines. One tsunami, things get wiped away. This is why they building all these underground cities. Oh my granny on the gas. I worked with a dude who said he took a train, a high-speed train in the military in America. He went from somewhere on the West Coast to near New York in like an hour on a train. And he said it was underground. 21 trillion to build an underground city? For sure, I know that exists. It have to exist. It has to.
And back to Antarctica, you think, because people have different theories, they say that's where a lot of like the giants exist. People are doing all manner of research there. Of course, there's the ice wall theory. There's so many things, but for them to keep a 19-year-old boy,
they don't know what he saw.
What did he see? You know,
there have been certain pilots who flew over a huge hole in Antarctica, and they say this hole is highly guarded. Electrical malfunctions, instrument malfunctions on the plane when they go over this hole, and my whole theory, the whole theory about an ice wall, because there is a lot of ice that leads up to that hole, but this is where Admiral Byrd say he flew into. The Ant people is a group spoke about by the Hopi Native Americans. They said the Ant people come from underground. They teach us things. They helped us survive the cataclysms on the surface. They took a photograph.
So do you think they observe us from down there, or what? Do you feel like the world we live and experience here above? Do you think the underworld, or rather like the sub world, is as big or bigger?
There are oceans, there are caverns of water under the ground that are bigger than all of our oceans above ground. So you gotta take that into consideration. And then at the same time, like, the world maps that they show us are all edited.
That's skew.
You feel me? That's my key sign, because you can fit the entire United States in a small portion of the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
So when you see stuff like that, and just traveling through Kenya, like this place is vast. Like this place is huge, and each place I get to, everybody is in the same rat race. You know, you got boda drivers, you got merchants here. Everybody's selling their different stuff. Only time I seen Kenyan people really chilling is when I got to Embu, who live off the land only. So I'm like, okay.
There's a famous guy, Andrew Kibe, the guy I told we're gonna shoot an episode with next week.
Yeah.
He did a thing called Ride 47. He's one of the biggest YouTubers out of Kenya.
Okay.
They tried to cancel him. He was just too powerful. He was like an Andrew Tate.
Let's go. So
he did something called Ride 47 where he rode through all the counties, and he was saying he feels like this city living is a trick.
It is, bro.
Based off what is out there in terms of resources.
For sure.
He said there's a town he went through where he was chilling with the guys at night. Remember the story you talked about where they said, yeah, you know, sometimes the giants come from behind those hills and eat our cattle. And it's like, huh? Say what?
This is what I'm talking about. The people know the truth. I'm out there, and on this plot of land, they got apples, bananas, mangoes, coffee beans, avocados. They don't have to leave. They don't have to leave. But people see things on the phone. Now they want more.
The Rari.
A lot of people don't make it trying to accomplish these astronomical goals. Because I'm definitely looking for a more simple life, because, bro, I did everything I was supposed to do. And no matter what, I always found myself around evil people. And I thought to myself, like, man, eventually I'll become like them.
Stay at the barbershop long enough.
You stay at the barbershop long enough, for sure.
But I gotta ask you, as we land the plane figuratively, as I like to say, what is God in your life? Is God in your life? What's your version?
It's tatted on me right here. Each one of these bullet holes was a time I could have died. There have been times when I don't know how I knew things, but somebody told me. And I have seen some of the worst people ever scream out for God, bro, when they think their time is done. And I would think to myself, like, see, this is the whole aspect of it. I don't believe you can be a piece of shit person your whole life, and then when you think you're about to die, oh, God, forgive me. Okay, now you're going to heaven. I don't think it worked like that. I feel like your body of work is what's going to let the prime creator be pleased with you.
But don't we all fall short? In our own different ways?
I never seen in any religious text the expectations to be perfect. That's how I know, okay, certain aspects of these literatures have to be real, because only in fantasy you're going to find a perfect person. And if the text say God created us in his image, maybe he is imperfect as well. That's why he don't interfere all the time in the motions of humans. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be here without my faith, because I deviated away from it for a little period of time in my life. And as I started to have certain experiences, it would just click to me like, oh, okay, this is why this exists. Because you cannot be out here fighting evil and perpetuating violence against the innocent at the same time. There's no balance. I know for a fact that when some of the worst people think they about to die, they either call for their mama or they call for God. And I told a guy one time, I said, you know, bro, for you to be screaming for God is crazy. You worship the devil, man. Which one?
And then you took him out.
Free Dugan. All I'm saying is this. I seen a devil worshiper when the magic tricks was up. And the only person he seen right there was me and the guys. He was calling for God, man. And I said, this is the cockiness of the human being, to think that you think you that special. You can do all of this bullshit. And now, you feel me, it's time to, it's time to meet your maker. Now you calling for God. Now, I will always make people, because a lot of people think I'm like the angel of death or something. You feel me? So like guys will see me and think, oh no. And I will let them cower. I'll let them, when a dude think he can negotiate his way out, you learn a lot about the human psyche, especially evil people. Because
are they the most cowardly?
For sure, bro. The biggest cowards, because they put on this big aura, because they feel less within themselves. They want to see a strong person feel weak and feel vulnerable. That's what gives them strength. That's how I know that some of these dark entities that exist on this planet feed off blatant fear, for sure.
And final question, because you've been in Kenya a while now. Do you see our leaders kind of also running us through some dark forces as well?
Under no circumstances should a human being, a child, any person be allowed to walk in a supermarket and purchase a Ouija board. The only purpose of a Ouija board is to open up a portal to communicate with dark entities. Now, I'm somebody who was big at the Catholic Church. I didn't been at an exorcism before. The Father told us, he said, look, when you talking to these psychics, you're not speaking to your dead relatives. You're speaking to demons impersonating them. So once he told me that, I said, aha, I can understand that. But the problem is the universe we live in is so vast that he's right, but then other people is right too. Because Beverly Rhodes worked for the CIA 20 years. She still worked with the London police. She helps bring back missing people, finding dead bodies. She not speaking to demons because it was things she knew about my grandmother that she said my grandmother told her that only my grandmother could tell her that. So it leaves you with this vast array of different variations or opportunities. And it's like the only way I can keep my feet on the ground is my faith. Because without that, who do I talk to? You feel me?
You can go crazy.
You're gonna go crazy. Like I know a lady, she got gang raped. And she asked me, what should she do? I said, you need to pray. And that was like the best advice I could give her, because any therapist is gonna just put her on medication. It's gonna lead to more problems for you. That's why I say the truth is stranger than fiction.
And God is real.
God is definitely real, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was part 2.
Part 2 for sure.
Big homie CC, man.
We had to do it. Every other time with Eric, man, tune in. We working.
That was an amazing episode, man. Thanks for coming through, man. Let's keep talking. Brother. Let's keep chopping it up.
Yes, sir.
Let's keep making magic, man.
Let's do it.
Happy to support you anywhere I can, man.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. For sure. I'm thankful for you, dog.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Every other time with Eric, if you haven't subscribed by now, you are just wilding, man.
You wilding.
Subscribe. That's a wrap. The Big Homie CC part 2. It's a wrap.
Catch y'all.